Well, hey, everybody, glad to be back with you again. Today's topic is 3 keys to making your offers irresistible. That sounds like a good thing, David.
Well, it is a good thing.
Makes me think of the song Simply Irresistible.
Well, okay.
Don't go back to the 80s.
That is a little while ago. Who sang that? I don't even remember.
Was that like was it Rich Ackley or what? I forget. Or was that, wasn't Huey Lewis, was it?
No, I'm going to have to look it up now. You keep talking. I'm going to. Who's saying
It's
that?
kind of like, when people do CPR, they say, sing, Staying Alive.
Robert Palmer.
Robert Palmer. Okay.
I was going to say, no, I have to look.
Maybe we should have led off this episode with that in the background.
Well, this is this whole episode is what, like 1 minute long, and we're already off track. Or less. It's less than a minute long, and we're already off track.
Hey, anything worth doing is worth doing well,
Well, we're good at chasing squirrels.
That's right.
All right, Chris, get us back on the road.
I will. I'll get us back on the rails. But yeah, the bottom line is we're going to talk about what does it take to truly make an offer, something that people really have a hard time saying no to. And it's not about manipulation. We're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about truly creating something and putting something together that people really want, that they truly just say, you know what, when they see it or hear about it, they're like, I need that. I need to join that program. I need to buy that course. I need to hire that, person for their services, whatever it may be. So David, why don't you jump in here and kind of give us your perspective on this? Because I know this is something you've really worked hard to learn and hone over the years, and explain to people the difference between an offer and like just a product.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Is like, a lot of times when you say things like make irresistible offers, people think, well, you're just being scammy or sleazy. And they think, oh, well, you're, and the dishonest way of doing that is promising a bunch of stuff that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get this. And they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And the customer is buying it because they think they're getting this amazing package of stuff.
Right.
And they're not, and then they're mad, and then yes, okay, so that is not what we're talking about. Let's just kind of clear the deck and say this is not those types of things.
Yeah,
this is about how do you actually create something that your customers are going to look at and go, oh my word, this is so valuable, I really, really want it. Because it's the old saying that no one likes to be sold, but everyone likes to buy. Okay, and you think sales is sleazy, sales is stuff that I don't like. Well, but have you ever gone into a store and found something and went, I love this, I'm going to get this.
Mm-hmm.
And you were so excited to exchange money for whatever that item was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were sold.
Yeah.
Let's just boil it down to its most simple essence.
Mm-hmm.
You were sold. You were excited to do that transaction. You were like, I'm going to get this. This is great. This is amazing. I want to do this. And that's the type of transaction we're trying to create. That's the type of engagement. That's the type of thing where we're trying to do, because we don't want offers that you have to get sleazy and salesy to move things and to get things sold. We want offers that are so doggone good and so impressive that people just go, how do I get this?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer to them, right?
I want this. Let me have it. Yeah. Like, just where's the buy button? Like, and I've been in those situations where I've talked to somebody about doing it, and I've had literally a customer stop me mid-sentence when I was explaining to him how the program worked and said, David, stop. How do I buy? Like, okay, that's the process. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in these three, if you can do these three things, you can do this.
Yeah,
this is really the truth about the matter. The first thing is creating immense value. Now, what you have to understand is every single person has a certain level of money or access to a certain level of money, whatever that number may be. And so they have that, and money in and of itself is great, but let's think about it. What does money actually do for you in life? It simply gives you the ability to pay for and to acquire the things that you want and that you need.
Right.
In and of itself, money has no value. It's literally just green paper, or whatever country you're from, the color of the paper. But Well, now it's more digital, but okay, I'll get back on track.
Yeah. There's like we'll just call it currency.
Currency. There you see, that's why you're here, to try and keep me from chasing rabbits. But so you do, at the end of the day, it's just paper. If you think about it in terms of currency, it's just paper. You can set a whole stack of it up on your desk. What does it actually do for you? You can't eat it.
Right.
You can't use it for clothing. You can't use it for shelter.
Yeah.
But it can be used to acquire all of those things.
Right.
It can be used to acquire food. It can be used to acquire an automobile, to pay for gas, to pay for your kids' needs, to pay for whatever it is that it's on the docket that you need to take care of. It's the means to all those things.
Right.
So at the end of the day, everyone that is out there with a certain amount of money, either available to them or that they currently have on them, that they're sitting on. And as they go through their life, they're looking at things and saying, nah, that's not worth it. No, I'm not interested in that. Or no, that's not what I want. And every once in a while, they come across something going, wow, that is exactly what I want. Mm-hmm. That's the exact thing I'm going for. And one of the things that you have to do is everyone thinks like, the pricing, and it's all about, it's too much money for this or that. Pricing really has nothing to do with it. And I'll demonstrate that here in a little bit. The pricing really has very, very little to do with it. It's all about the value that you've created in the mind of the other individual. Have you created so much value in their mind that they're going, whoa, I have to have it? Because all of us have been in those times in life. I'll give an example. Okay. This is going back many years ago. Okay. Many, many years ago. This is probably early 1990s. So
last century.
Thanks for saying it like that. Anyway, but a buddy of mine and I, this is before I was married, before any of that, a buddy of mine and I were living in Chicago, and we went down to Cincinnati for the weekend to go to a couple baseball games, because we were like, you know what, it's going to take the weekend. Let's go down, watch a couple of baseball games, and then we'll go back to Chicago. And that's where we live, and that's where we're working. We were sharing an apartment, and we were having a great time. So we go down to this show. We go down, and we had like the game on Saturday wasn't until Saturday night. So we had all afternoon to kill. So we're just walking around downtown Cincinnati, didn't really have much to do. So we're just walking and exploring. And we walked past the convention center, and it said Sports Card and Memorabilia Show. And I thought, and see, Chris already knows where this is going. But my buddy and I looked at each other, because we both enjoy that type of thing. And we're like, let's go in there. Let's walk in and see what's going on. I mean, this could be a good way to kill some time this afternoon. There could be some interesting things in here. Well, we buy our tickets, we walk in the door, and we look up. And at the end of the area where all the displays are, they have an autograph booth. And sitting at the table is Mickey Mantle.
Oh my gosh.
We almost soiled ourselves. But we stood there, and I think there was this moment, because we had no clue he was there.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero idea that he was there. And I think there was this moment where there's probably 5 or 10 seconds where we stood there next to each other, and neither one of us said one word, because we both saw him at the same time. And we're just standing there. I think our jaws are on the floor.
Right.
And then we look at each other, and we just go, dear God, that's Mickey Mantle. And we're like, he's signing autographs? Yeah, right down there. And we looked at each other, and I think at that time, the autograph was like $50, which, okay, I was just fresh out of college at this point in time. $50 I didn't have. I didn't have it. And then we're looking at each other going, this is no longer an option. We have to get $50 each. One way or another, we have to go get $50. And so we leave, we go and walk back to the desk, or to where we bought our tickets. If we leave, can we get back in? They're sure, let's stamp your hand, and like, fine. So now the two of us are sprinting up and down the streets of downtown Cincinnati looking for an ATM. Because we are like, we don't care. We're on a mission. He is only going to be at that table for so much longer.
Right.
And we are like running as fast as we could freaking sprint to find an ATM machine so we can get cash. And so and we were paying not, that was back when you had to pay.
You had to pay a fee
because it wasn't in your network ATM. We said, we don't care. Whatever it is, pay it. This is a once in a lifetime chance. And so we get our money, we sprint back in there to go get our Mickey Mantle autograph. And we got it done. And in that moment, it was an amazing lesson to me. Did I plan on spending $50? Because, you think in 2024, $50, what's the big deal? Because the autograph baseball that I got signed, the at that time, it cost $50 to get an autograph. Now that same baseball sells for like $650, just to show the rising cost of inflation, and he's no longer around, and so
the value is driven up.
Right. But at that time, $50 was a lot of money for a broke kid who just graduated from college, who's barely paying rent on the apartment.
Right.
I'm looking at this going, I don't care. I have to take out a loan. I'm going to get this money.
I'll walk to work for the next month if I have to.
I don't care. I will go clean toilets somewhere if I have to go make the extra money to do this. Because again, but back then, $50 was a lot more than it was today.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all of that. So the lesson that I'm trying to share in there is that the value in our minds was so high that we were going to do whatever it took to get the money.
Yeah.
Because that value was so incredibly high to us. We were getting a piece of history. We were getting a piece of America in that moment. We were getting something that was the piece of a legend. Because in our minds, Mickey Mantle was a complete legend.
Sure.
Okay. And so we're looking at all this and we're going, we are not, that value was so high. No, it didn't even matter what the number was. If they would have charged us $200, we would have probably still done it.
Well, and I think that's the point, right? Like I heard the other day, another example, an illustration of this is if somebody offered you a Ferrari for $5,000 and a legitimate set, it was not a clunker, right? It was legitimate.
It hasn't been in a major crash.
Right. Like it's a legitimate offer. Somebody says you can have this for $5,000. Most people would say, I'm going to do anything I can to find $5,000 because they know. Right. Now you take that same $5,000, you say, I've got this pencil and it's going to be $5,000.
Right.
Nobody's going to go run around town looking for $5,000 to buy that pencil.
Right.
So you're right. It's about perception, right? And even in your example, would my wife, would other non-sports fans have done what you and your roommate did to get that autograph?
No,
right. And because for them there was no value, but we also know that there are things that they would have done for that $50 in their own way, right? That they saw, but for you're like, anything and everything I've got to do right now to get this taken care of because I see this is valuable to me.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. Like you created such excitement in us. You created such immense desire in us that we were going to do whatever it took.
Right.
And literally, we're running back in the convention center soaked in sweat. And we didn't care. Whatever it took.
Right.
And we were just like, we did it.
You probably talked about it all day long and the whole trip home about.
Yes, exactly. We did 100%. And we bought a little stand for it to sit in. And we were like, on the drive home, we're like setting them up, like, don't let anything touch them.
Yeah.
Don't let anything touch these things.
Protect the babies.
Pristine, just the way they are. But the point is like, how can you do that for your customer? How can you create such value for your customer? Well, number one, you got to know exactly what the needs of your customer is.
Yeah.
You got to, what do they want and what do they need? Understand that at a deep, deep level. Understand what all the related needs are. So it's not just like, well, I want to start my own business. Okay. Well, why do you want to start your own business? Understand what all the related things around that. What's the reason? Is it just because you want to get out of your job and you don't want to work in your job anymore? Is it because you are financially pressed and you need to make money to create some freedom in your life? Is it because you want to control your own schedule? Is it because you have a loved one that you need to take care of? What are the whys? and create an offer that not only meets all those needs and desires, but goes beyond them.
Yeah.
And because, again, when we walked into the convention center, we thought, well, maybe we can find something cool. It's unexpected. We weren't planning on spending that money. Like I said, at that point in my life, $50 was a lot of money. I didn't, I was barely scraping by at all. I was living paycheck to paycheck in a big way.
Yeah.
Because I was just starting out in life. But, we thought, well, maybe we'll find one or two little things. We'll spend $20 or something and have a nice afternoon.
Right.
Well, that quickly all got flushed when we found out what was going on. And so how do you create that same level of excitement? How do you create something to your customer in their world? Because your point is absolutely 100% on, Chris. If my future, at that time, I didn't even know my wife, but at that time, if she had walked into that same place, she would have looked up at Mickey Mantle and went, huh,
Who's that old guy?
It's some famous old baseball player.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. And wouldn't have done a doggone thing about it because she's not that target customer.
Right.
So you have to know, so you're not going to appeal to everybody, but that there's a segment of people out there that are going to go, oh my word, I have to have this.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it is. And so you have to understand that, make it clear to them that they can get exactly what they want. And your way of doing it is unique and different from the normal way. Okay. And you want to be everything that they could ever want and more. Because again, there's a difference between, I could have went off and at a different show or something and just bought a Mickey Mantle ball, but there's no replacement for standing across the table staring at the man.
Right.
That's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to lose it. I wasn't going to miss it. So you're going to do whatever it takes to do that. Now, this is why when you make your offer, how can you make it so that it's everything your customer needs and wants and more? Honestly and legitimately.
Right.
How can you do that in such a way that's not you're promising things that they're not going to get? You're actually going to deliver all this. These are things that are all, and if you can't deliver it all, then what do you need to do to be able to deliver it?
Right.
Or if it's impossible to deliver, then you shouldn't be mentioning it.
Right.
But do everything you can to create this offer that your customer is going to look at it and go, oh my word, I have to have this. This is everything I could ever want to fulfill my dream, to fulfill this desire, to solve this problem in my life and more.
Yeah.
So once they are sold on that, what's always going to be the next question that they ask?
How much is it?
How much is it? Because now they're going, oh my word, I want that Ferrari that you were talking about earlier, Chris. But then what stops most people from buying the Ferrari?
Money.
The price tag.
Yeah. People
will look at it and go, that thing is amazing. That's an amazing car, or whatever your dream car may be. Everyone, maybe it's not a Ferrari, it's maybe something completely different. But the point is, what stops everybody? It's the next stop point is the price.
Yeah.
Because most people don't buy a Ferrari because it's a very expensive car to buy. And it's a very expensive car to maintain.
Right.
It's not a car that you go out and can just, oh, hey, $29.99 oil change. No.
And you don't go to AutoZone and just get your parts right. I'm like,
no, this is like every time that's something you learn when you buy one of these types of cars, when you have to do maintenance, everything's a lot more money.
Yeah.
Everything, like the battery, the tires, all the maintenance stuff. This is a lot more money than what it, is for just a regular car. So how can you set up, like you said earlier, and you stole my example, Chris, of I do this all the time with people. Like if I had a pen and I said the pen's $1,000, and people are going to look at me and go, no, I don't want to give you $1,000 for that pen, David. That's not valuable. But if I went and said, and I don't have keys on me, I said, here's the key to a brand new Lexus for $1,000. All of a sudden, magically, you're going to say, I have $1,000.
Yeah.
Whereas 2 minutes before with my pen offer, you're saying, nope, I don't have $1,000, David. I'm not going to give you a penny because it's a pen. This is
or what if that pen was Ernest Hemingway's pen?
Now you changed. Now you've done this point of creating gap between the value and the price. That's the whole point of what we're talking about here, is the perceived value and the price. If they are too close together, it's much more difficult to make a sale. If you're like, and you know, like, and we've all been in those situations where you looked at something and said, well, I'd really like it, but I don't know if it's worth that much money. Right? You've surely been in a store and you looked at it and go, yeah, that would be a good thing to have, but not for that much.
Right.
Because the value and the price are too tight.
Yeah.
They're too closely together, or sometimes they may even feel like the price is above the value.
Yeah.
Then you really say no. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I would like that, but it ain't worth that much money.
Right.
Like, I can go do it a different way, a lot cheaper, and I'd rather do that. So you have to create the disparity. Your job is, first of all, to create the immense value, but now how to show the price for it is, there's a huge gap between what you're going to get and what you're going to actually pay.
Yeah.
And how you can do that is a number of different things. Is you can show them, well, here's the other options. If you want to do it on your own, this is what it's going to look like. If you want to do it using this other program, this is what it's going to look like. And so what they have to feel like, what you want them to honestly feel like, is they're robbing you. You want them to feel like they're almost stealing from you by saying yes.
Yeah.
Like, you have stacked this thing and created such a gap between the value and the price that you're charging, that they feel like, this is crazy. Why are you, like, Chris, why are you offering this so cheaply?
Well, I could even give you a very real-time example. This happened to me yesterday. So recently, one of my digital courses, somebody bought it and the logins weren't getting sent to them correctly. There was something wrong with my website. It wasn't communicating like it needed to. And I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure it out. And I kept researching and Googling and trying to trying things, and nothing was working. And then I came across that there's a company that can basically help me manage that and do like white glove service to help you make sure everything's connected properly. And it was like $49. I dropped that. I put my credit card in and I'm like, I just got to get this fixed.
Right.
Like I've spent enough time trying to figure it out on my own. I have just banged my head. I don't know where to look. I didn't want to break something, because, I didn't want to keep tinkering around and do something wrong. So to your point, that money to get and literally as soon as I paid and got the, gave them my information to get things set up. Like, I think I got an email like 5 minutes later and said, hey, everything looks good. I tested it, blah, blah, blah. I went in and tested it. Everything was good. That was like the best $49 I spent recently, because they got my problem solved so quickly. And I don't care that it didn't take them hours. I just want the problem fixed.
Right. And again, what they did was value, price,
right?
Big gap. Because you're looking at your problem as a big headache. And you've already spent a bunch of time trying to solve that problem. And your time is worth, several hours of your time is worth a whole lot more than $49 to you. And you're looking at, what if I have to spend several more hours on this stupid thing, or $49 value, price, huge gap. So no brainer for you to make that buying decision.
Nope.
This is what you have to do in the minds of all of your customers. You have to have them looking at this going, wow, this is everything I want. You're doing everything I'm asking for. You're going to help me get everything I want out of this. You're going to help me achieve my dream, help me fulfill my desire. You're going to give me exactly what I need in this situation. And the price is only that. So the gain that I'm experiencing versus the loss of the financial side, it's not close.
Right.
And that's exactly what you were just describing.
Yeah.
There's a huge, like, $49 and this problem goes away. Like, okay, where is and your brain just said, where's the buy button?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So there's only one other element left now that is a factor in all of this. And that is getting a little bit of urgency in the process. Now, depending on the circumstances, like you were quote unquote in pain, Chris, over this headache that you were, because you've been spending hours and not in like physical pain, but you were mentally like, I am done. I am tired of fighting this.
Yeah.
You're in a form of mental pain of dealing with all of these things and saying, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of wasting time on this, but this needs to be solved. I've had it. So you're in a position where you're highly motivated to do that. Sometimes when you meet a customer and you create this amazing offer and you give it to them at an amazing comparable price. So there's that big gap between value and price, and they're going, this is a steal. This is amazing. There's only one thing left for them to say yes. There's only one thing left stopping them from saying yes. A reason that they need to do it now. Because not every, like you in your situation, you were motivated because I have a customer that needs to get access.
Right.
I have a customer that's expecting me to deliver, and I look bad by not being able to get this to them. So I feel that pressure. But sometimes when people talk to you, they're like, well, okay, well, this is amazing. This is exactly what I want. But then they start coming up with the reasons not to do it right now. They come up with the reasons to kick the can down the road a little ways. Well, maybe next month when I have more money, or maybe I'll do it, in 3 months. And when they say that, they might as well just use the word no, because they're not going to do it.
Right.
They're not going to say yes because they're not motivated to do it in this moment. And in 3 months, they'll have moved on to something else. And they'll be thinking about something else and they'll never do it. So we have to create scarcity or urgency in the mind of the customer. We got to give them a reason to say yes now. So we have to come up with it. Like, scarcity is like, okay, we're only, this offer that we're making to do this at this price, we're only going to do it for the first 100 people. And if you are number 101, sorry. You're too late. So all of a sudden that starts to make, well, wait a minute. If I dilly-dally around too long, if I hesitate too long, I want to miss it.
Yeah.
Urgency is like a date-based type thing. It's like if you've ever gone to a store and they say, well, and let's say you're looking for a piece of furniture and, well, we're having a sale. It's in one of the holiday sales.
Right, it's Labor Day sale.
Labor Day sale, whatever. You pick a holiday. They have them every one. But you're like, okay, we're having a big Labor Day sale and it's 50% off. Yeah. So if you come back next week, you won't get the 50% off.
Right.
Well, shoot. If I want to get this at this price, I better act now. So it's finding ways is like, how do you either add scarcity or urgency to get someone to say, okay, no, I need to do it now. I need to pull the trigger now as opposed to later, because if I do it later, I'm going to miss out. And that could be a number of things. You can give bonuses. Like, hey, everybody who joins now gets this and this and this. And if you don't, I'm sorry, but you missed it. Or you can put, like I said, scarcity on it. We're going to give 100 bonuses to the first 100 people that sign up. Or we're going to, there's a whole number of ways of combining things and using dates. Like after the end of the month, we're closing this and we're not taking any new clients for a while. Yeah. So if you want to be part of this next group of people that we're working with, you need to sign up by the end of the month or we're moving on. Yeah. With the group that did say yes. So there's all these different ways of doing it. Now, with all that, once again, don't be dishonest. Yeah. Don't say something that isn't true. Yeah. Be honest in how you're saying this and how you're doing this, but find ways to get people to that point where like, okay, let's do it. Because that is the only thing left from them doing it. They see this is exactly what they want. It's at an amazing price that is worth way more than what they're paying to them. The value added to their life is significantly more than the financial cost that it's going to withdraw from them. And there's a reason that they need to act now. There's a time element that they need to get their butt moving now if they want to take advantage of this.
Well, I think right, as consumers, we are party to this all the time, right? Like, how many times
Right.
I can't even count now. My wife will like, hey, do you need such and such product because Costco's got it on sale till
Correct.
the end of the week or whatever.
Right.
And all of a sudden she goes and buys 4 of something that we normally would have bought 1 of, but because it's a sale, it's like
Right.
it is a more attractive, like, let's go get it, make sure we don't miss out on the sale. Like, even though those are like smaller price points than a lot of the, things, most of our audience would offer with courses and coaching and training, the reality is when people see an opportunity to save some money or to get a good deal, I mean, there are just deal hunters out there, right? Like, think about, like you said, there every holiday, whether it's a mattress store, a car dealership, even fitness centers, like they might be doing like a New Year's, join now for $29 and kind of thing, whatever. Businesses have been doing this for however long, but somehow I think we tend to miss this on our end
We
as
don't see it as a consumer.
yeah,
Right.
right. And how do you, and like you said, thinking about it differently, or how does it relate to a course or a coaching program, or something to make it attractive to people. We have to think a little differently than just dropping the price. Like Walmart's like, hey, it's instead of it being $7.99, it's $4.99 for the next week. Like, we just have to see it different.
Well, you have to be a little bit more creative. And you have to find ways to use bonuses, to use time, to use whatever it may be to get people to take action now. But I'm telling you, if these are three things, if you can master these 3 things,
Yeah.
you can sell, and you can sell a lot.
Well, and I know you've shared in the past, but we've both done this where there's been some things that we've even bought in the past, whether it's a course or a program, where it's like the bonuses were so valuable that we bought
Right.
because the bonuses,
Right.
not
I
even the
mean,
core
I
program.
was so right. I was so on the course. Like the course looked reasonably interested, but all the bonuses that they throw on top, I actually wanted that bonus. That's the thing. So I'm buying the course to get that bonus.
Right.
That has absolutely happened before, but that's all part of stacking the value.
Yeah.
That's all part of like adding so much immense value to it that at some point in the process, your customer is going to say, that's the thing I want.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing I'm after. That's the thing I need. So I'll buy it because of that.
Yeah.
But you have to keep adding value to it.
Yeah.
And again, this is the process. This is the journey. We tend to like think that the people who can sell have this magical sales skill. No, the people who can sell learned a skill.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's willing to learn, anybody who's willing to commit themselves, anybody who's willing to do the work can do this.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to learn how to do these 3 things if you're going to make it.
Yeah.
If you don't learn to master these 3 elements, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
But if you can do this, you're going to get people to say yes. You're going to get people to buy. Plain and simple, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
And you will grow your business and you will have lots of customers and things will go very well for you.
I was even listening to a podcast today while doing some traveling, and they were talking about how, like, even on high ticket sales, just the getting people even to pay up front versus in installments, it's like, even when you've got a higher price point, you can say, if you go ahead and prepay, for the entire program today, or by in the next 2 days or something, to give them a little bit of a time window, then it'll be this much. But if but then the payments will be this. Well, then you start doing the math in your head, like, well, if I prepay, I'm going to save X dollars or X percentage. Like, people will be like, that's part of the urgency and scarcity even, right?
Correct.
Absolutely. So even that can be something where it's like, it's driving decisions because you're giving people an opportunity. Is really what you're doing, to save some money for the same thing, or stretch it out and pay another, pay more. And once again, some people don't care about that as much. Some people are thinking cash flow, and they're like, you know what, it's okay, I'll pay more, but I'll extend it because I don't have the cash. I don't want to spend the cash right now. Other people are like, no, that's a great deal. I've got the funds. I've got the access. I'll just do it now and save that money and use that savings for something else in my business or my life.
And somehow it comes down to about this simple. Think about the behavior that you want your customer to take. Like, you want them to look at your offer and to purchase it, and you want the prospect to look at your offer, purchase it, and become a customer, right? So how do you incentivize them to do so?
Yeah.
And that sounds very simplistic, but I just gave you the 3 things you need to do to make that possible.
Right.
And if you learn how to think like a customer and think, well, if I was a customer and I was like, does this give me everything I need to solve my issues and solve my problems?
Mm-hmm.
If your answer is no, well, then you need to go back to your offer and make it a little better.
Yeah.
And figure out, how can I make it so that it gives my customer everything they want and need? So that they're going to go, that's it. That's what I want and need. That's amazing. And then how can I make the price so attractive relative to what I'm giving them that they're going to go, oh my word, I'll say yes to this all day long. Mm-hmm. And then the other side is, how can I move them back now?
Yeah.
You do those things, sales are going to come.
Well, I think where a lot of people miss this or overlook it is the value's there, but they don't know how to communicate it well, or they haven't communicated it well.
True.
And so really it's not even so much that you have to create the value. Sometimes it's, how am I making sure they see it? Because don't assume the customer is going to see that value on their own. Right. We have to take responsibility for showing them. And, it's that whole thing, like you said, like, well, if you don't do this, then this is the cost to you. Right. And then they have to start weighing that cost logically and emotionally. Whereas if you don't say it, how many people really figure that out in their own mind on their own? In essence, we have to help them see the value through the words we use, through the presentations we give. And you're right, David, that's a skill. I mean, I think this is one of our biggest hurdles as entrepreneurs is we want fast results without having to develop the skills. And yet the people that are most successful have gone through the grind of developing the skills, finding the things they're not good at, and learning those things to become good at them. And it's a journey. And yet, one of the reasons we create our Design Launch Grow program was to help people fast track that development, because a lot of times, many times we just need somebody to show us a better way, because I remember years ago, I had somebody who was struggling with like their email system, and I was more familiar with the system. And she was like, she was emailing me or messaging me back and forth or something. And I said, let's just jump on a Zoom call. And we did. And within like 3 minutes, I showed her, do this, this, and this, and it was fixed. She'd been wrestling with that for, days, weeks. I forget how long. It was a lot. But because I was more familiar with it and I could just help her quickly, I mean, she was super grateful. Right. And so as coaches, as trainers, that's the opportunity that we have in our businesses, is to help people get faster results and help them get from that stuck state that they're in and frustration to results, and then keep them moving forward. And that's why we are so passionate about our Design Launch Grow program, is we've seen people who go from, they just don't know where to go next, to seeing success, seeing growth, and their motivation, their energy level, everything changes, because now it's like, oh my gosh, like I just didn't know what I didn't know. And now I can move to the next level of growth. And yeah, they're going to run into another thing, because we all do, right? We learn one thing and we find out what we don't know again. And so that's why, we do like our weekly coaching calls. That's why we have the community that we built for that, because it's an ongoing journey. Right. And so folks, if you need help doing the very thing we've talked about today, how do you create that value? How do you price it properly? How do you create that scarcity and urgency with what you're offering? Then check out designlaunchgrow.com, because we would love to be your partners for your success, to help you, because we see things as coaches differently than what you're seeing in the midst of it. Because why did Tiger Woods have a golf coach? Because he can't see everything going wrong with his swing at any given time. Even though he was the greatest golfer in the world for his, generation, he still saw there was missing something, and that a coach who wasn't nearly as good of a golfer even as him, but saw something like, hey, you're doing this when you're trying to swing, or you're in the back. Like, pro athletes need coaches, business people. We're no different. We need coaches. We need help. We need that community around us to help us see things that we don't see. And that's what we built with our Design Launch Grow program. So we'd love you to check that out. David, anything else to kind of wrap this up today?
Yeah, all I can do is echo exactly what you're saying, because I've had those exact same experiences working on something in my business. I've been fighting it for months. Sat down, had a conversation with somebody, and they looked at me, so why don't you try this? And in 5 minutes, I had the solution.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we making this harder on ourselves?
Right.
Get around people that can help you. Get around people that understand you. Get around people that can help you move faster, and you're going to save yourself mountains of headaches, frustration, and you think it's going to cost you money, but at the end of the day, how much money are you going to save? Because you're not going to sit here fighting it and wasting all your time screwing around with problems when they can just be solved and you can move on with your life.
Yeah, how many sales are you missing out on while you're trying to figure it out becomes a big question, right?
Correct.
So folks, we're glad that you're with us again today, and we will see you next time.